So in this subject, we're going to use Subtotal graphical user interface in Excel. There's two types of subtotals, which is using graphical user interface or using the function by formula, by typing, and we'll be talking using the graphical user interface. So it's quite easy actually. The Subtotal GUI, the example of the dialog box is shown on the right. The first option will allow us to choose the field of which we want to base your subtotal. At each change means that every time there's a change in the data, a subtotal will be inserted, or it will be grouped for each change, for each data that have the same value. So we need to make sure that you have already sort the data before using the subtotal. Your primary sort and choice should be the same column heading. So if we are sorting the data by department, then we're going to use the subtotal by at each change of department. The second option here allows us to choose the function we want to insert. It can be sum, average, max, mean, count, and so on. The add subtotal to, this one, refers to which column or which fields you want to apply that function, the sum function or any other function that you choose here. But the subtotal cannot combine functions. So you cannot use, let's say, sum of quantity and count of department. We cannot do that. Subtotal cannot do that for the GUI. You can do that using the manual formula, but for the GUI it's much more simple. And then we can checklist each column that we want to use the function for. And then if we have previous subtotals, we want to replace it. So make sure you still use this checklist, because usually we change the data, we want to change the subtotal, and subtotal adds records in our data. If we do not click this, then the added record will be counted in the next cycle and your data will be ruined. So my best scenario is just use the checklist, replace current subtotals. And then page break between groups. This is very important if you want to print out the data. So a page break means when it's printed, it's on different page. Because we want to see it visually on the screen only, you don't need to use this page break. And then there's a total summary below the data. This is optional. If you want to use, it's a grand total. Now, I'll be giving you the example. Let's return to our data here. Because we want to subtotal by each change of department, so my data should be sorted by department first. So I Control A and then I sort by department. Sort by department A to Z. Click OK. So we can see now the data is being sorted by department, and then I select the subtotal, which is here. Subtotal GUI is here on the data ribbon. The mouse, I'll click it and it will open this dialog box. Once again, you need to remember that we are sorting it by department. So at each change in department, let's say I want to sum the total value. So I use the function sum. You can use any other function here, but usually we use the most common one is sum, count, average. That is the most common one. Sum and count it for total value column. Then click OK. Now, automatically, Excel will add levels here. You can see on the left, there are level 1, level 2, level 3. Now, for each change of department, Excel will add this new row. So it's department 1 total. So it will add this subtotal from total value here. And then we can see it again. There's department 2. Then we can see it again in department 3, department 4, department 5, and the final one is grand total. If we only want to see the resume, we can click this number here, the levels number. Level number 1 means the grand total only. If I click level number 1, level number 2 means the grand total and the department total. Level 3 means the whole data. So this is subtotal, and it's making us easy to find totals. But beware though, if you have the data unsorted, there will be mishaps, such as this. I'll click it again, Control A again, select the whole table, and then I click subtotal again, and I remove the subtotal first. Remove all. So it will return to the base data like this. Now, see this. My data is still sorted by department. Department 1 and then department 2 and so on. But if I choose to subtotal it by type, we will have this mishap. I'm opening the subtotal. For each change in type, use function count. For example, count what? Count the part number. Click OK. And this is what you get. AB count. AB count 2. There is 2 part number here. AC count 3. There is 3 part number here. And so on. But what is the matter? The matter is we are sorted by department, but we want to subtotal it by type. And we have a double AB count. This is AB count. This is AB count once again. And there will be AB count again, once again, down the road in each department. Department 4, department 3, department 5. So it's very crucial that you sort the data first, and the header, the column that you use to be the primary sort, the first level, the main level, that's the one that's being used for the subtotals. Because if you don't, then your data will be like this. What happens if I add new subtotal, but I do not replace the current subtotal? I disable this replace current subtotal. So I'm going to try for each change of department now. For each change of department, and then I'm going to use sum of part number. It actually doesn't make sense. Why should I do this? But I'm only showing you the example for the wrong one, the one that without replacing current subtotal. I click OK, and then you can see OK. Now I have a table of data like this. I have a department 1 total, then I have an AB count like this, and department 1 total again, and department 1 total again, and department 1 total again. Okay, so please make sure that you have sorted the data first. Now to remove it, I need to click remove all, like that. Now there is some output of snapshots here. This is an example of if we sort it by type, and then we use the sum of quantity and total value by type. So at each change in type, use the function sum for cost and total value, and we'll get this AB total for cost and AB total for total value. Another example is average of total value by type. So at each change of type, you use the average of total value, so it will return the average. For these 2 conditions, we are using sorting by type. And then there is another example is We still sort by type, count by part number, count of part number by department and type. Okay, so this is sorted first by department, and then for each change of type, only in this certain condition we use different sort and subtotal header. So sort first by department, sort second level is by type, but at each change of type, know that in department 1, AB count is 2. In department 2, AB count is 3. In department 3, AB count is 1. But at least one of the levels in the sorting should be used in the subtotal. So you cannot use a column that is not sorted yet. The sorting itself can be multiple levels. Now let's do some practice. I'll give you an example for practice number 1. So let's use the data provided. We sort it again and subtotals to show the average quantity by type. So it should return something like this. Okay. Now to have this output, then we need to sort the data by type and then choose average quantity. I'll return to the data here. Control A. I sort the data first by type. After sorting it, and then I use subtotals by each change of type, use function average of cost. Click OK. Click the second level here. Hey, sorry. The practice is, average quantity. Let me fix that, not cost. I changed, not average cost, but average quantity. Make sure you click replace current subtotals. Okay. Now we have it. Click the second. Now we have it. Click the second level, and then you're good. You know that we have AB average, AC average, and so on, and the grand average. So in our data, the average quantity item is 8.3 item. That's for number 1. Okay, now there's a little difference between this snapshot. Maybe I have changed the data a little bit. So we have AB the same, AC 89 the same, DBDE the same, RT 833. Oh, that's the same. That is the same. I just misread it. Now the number 2. Number 2 is the max value of cost by department. So we need to sort it by, before you sort it, first remove the subtotal. Then you sort it by department. Okay. And it asks for max value of cost by department. So let's return here, subtotal. For each change in department, use max of cost. Cost is being selected, max is being selected at each change of department. Make sure the data is sorted by department first. Okay. Now I can just select the level 2 here, and you can see that department 1 max is 64, department 2 max is 84, and so on, as you can see here. Number 3 is the sum of total value by type. Sum of total value by type. So we need to sort it by type, sum the total value. First, remove all. Okay. If you're seeing like this, there's a grand max left over. It's usually happen. Just delete it. And if you still see like this, you need to use the ungroup. Sorry, I need to select it first. Clear outline. Very good. There's a show here, clear outline. Now, that is number 1 and number 2 practice. And number 3 will be sum of total value by type. So once again, we select the table. Wait. I need to sort it first. Sort by type. And then subtotal. For each change of type, use function sum. Use the column total value. Click OK. Then we'll get the values. Total value of sum from AB total, AC total, until grand total. Okay, that's it for